Welcome into the Commanders Report. I am your host, Jack Sperry, and today I'm going to be breaking down all 11 undrafted free agents that the Washington Commanders have signed post the 2024 NFL Draft, and I'm going to be giving my grades for each player, and I'm going to be talking about which players I think might have a fighting chance to make the final 53-man roster for your Washington Commanders. But before we talk about some of the UDFAs today and we go more in depth on these guys, make sure you click that thumbs up icon if you haven't already, because the Cowboys Report and Tom Downey, their host here at Chat Sports, has challenged us to a like battle. In yesterday's video, they got 822 likes. So today we have to beat that. And listen, Tom Downey, if it wasn't bad enough, this is what he had to say about the Commanders and their draft class. The Washington Commanders clearly didn't learn their lesson from RG3 and took another injury risk of a QB who can't survive as a passer in the National Football League. Not only that, but they took a backup defensive tackle in Johnny Newton when they needed a left tackle, and most of the players they took won't amount to anything. Cowboys still on top. So as you can see, Tom Downey has a pretty big mouth on him here. So shut him up right now. Click that thumbs up icon and help us win today's like battle. Okay, so now let's get into the first UDFA that I want to talk about today. My favorite addition that GM Adam Peters and Dan Quinn have made here, and that's Tyler Owens, the safety out of Texas Tech. And listen, Owens is extremely athletic, right? He tweaked his hamstring at the combine this year, but I think he would have ran in the low 4.3s, maybe even the high 4.2s if he would have ran a full 40-yard dash. He was having some really crazy explosiveness numbers with his vertical and broad jump this year. He's 210 pounds and at 6'2", and you can really see the explosiveness and the speed on his film. He plays with physicality, and if you're looking for somebody to potentially take over for Jeremy Chinn at strong safety, Tyler Owens is one of the options here that can develop into that option for you moving forward. Chinn is only on a one-year deal this year, and you do bring in Dominique Hampton as well, as a draft pick, I believe in the 6th round this year for the Commanders. I think it was actually 5th round, my mistake there. But Owens is definitely another possibility in this room, and there's going to be a nice competition at strong safety throughout this year's offseason program, and I cannot wait to see the athletic Owens in a Commanders uniform and what he's going to be able to do. Then we go to Marcus Rosemy, Jack Saint, wide receiver out of Georgia here. I'm going to go with an A- here for Rosemy, Jack Saint, because I think that he's a good player. I think that he comes from a winning pedigree there with the Georgia Bulldogs, and even though I think that the wide receiver room is pretty stacked right now here in Washington, of course you got Terry McLaurin, you got Jahan Dotson, you just added Luke McCaffrey in this year's draft class, and I still like guys like Jamison Crowder and Mitchell Tinsley and De'Ami Brown as backup options. So, I mean, Rosemy, Jack Saint is a bigger wide receiver, so maybe, he can fight his way onto the roster as a red zone threat, and I do think that the talent here in terms of a UDFA is legit, so I'll give it an A-. Then I'll go with a B+ for A.J. Woods, a defensive back out of Pitt. And this is somebody that definitely has a great speed profile here, a 4.39 40-yard dash, which is absolutely fantastic. Plus, the short area quickness is definitely there. Now, he's not the best size in the world. He's short and he is skinny for the position here in terms of what you want out of an NFL cornerback, but he's definitely somebody that's played at a high level there with Division I football there with the Pitt Panthers, and he's got really, really good speed. So that's definitely something that might translate to special teams, that might translate as a good backup option in the secondary. Whether they use him as a corner or a safety or potentially even both is going to be interesting to me as we approach training camp. Now, coming up here, more Commanders UDFA grades here for you guys to enjoy. But before we get into that, I want to talk about today's sponsor at Fanatics. And they currently are selling Jaden Daniels jerseys, Washington Commanders jerseys on their website right now. They are selling like hotcakes because this is the new franchise quarterback of this football team. So you got to make sure you go right now to make sure you get yours today. You got to go to chatsports.com/Daniels. Just so you guys know, it's probably going to be a number 5 jersey. The team has not officially announced what number Jaden Daniels will be having or will be wearing just yet. It's a number 1 jersey right now. It's going to change in the coming days when it's officially announced. And don't worry, if you order it today, it won't be a number 1 jersey unless he chooses number 1. But anyway, it's going to be the actual number that he chooses. So don't worry about that. You can go chatsports.com/Daniels today to get the brand new jersey for our franchise quarterback. All right, now let's go to the other strong safety prospect that they're bringing in here, Ben Nickel. out of Iowa State. I'm going to give this a B+ because I don't think he's quite as athletic as Tyler Owens, but I think that he's yet another good option because, he's a little bit smaller for a strong safety. But I look at that there at 200 pounds. He plays extremely physical on tape, and he brings really good speed. 4.45 for a strong safety is an elite number there. 9.66 relative athletic score for a strong safety coming into the National Football League. So listen, man, you got Dominic Hampton, you got guys like Tyler Owens now, and you got Ben Nickel to kind of see if one of these guys can kind of stick and kind of be a nice option for you after Jeremy Chinn's one-year contract expires here in Washington. Then we got Coulson Yankov, a great name right here, by the way, for a UDFA, and a great name for a fullback, okay? So a B+ grade for me here. He's really athletic and really speedy for a fullback at 4.6, 140. And then the shuttle time and the three-cone was also very good for him. So he's somebody that brings some really nice athleticism to the fullback position. Now, where does a fullback really fit into a Cliff Kingsbury offense that doesn't really use a fullback? Well, maybe he'll be a tight end. I guess we'll have to see. But he definitely brings some nice athleticism to the table, and he brings an elite all-name team kind of name to the table, so I guess he brings that. And then another guy that is getting a lot of buzz here with Washington, Sam Hartman, quarterback out of Notre Dame. It's a guy that everybody knows because he was the quarterback at Notre Dame, and he's got the great hair, and he had the appearance on QB1, the Netflix show back in high school. But at the end of the day, guys, I'm giving him a B- here because I just don't think he's going to end up making this team, all right? And I just don't think that he has what it takes to even be a backup in the National Football League. If you watched him play during the Senior Bowl this year, interceptions galore, turnover-worthy plays galore, and that was against the most vanilla coverages you're going to see, like basic country cover 3, cover 1 man, like super easy stuff, and he was still throwing inaccurately. He doesn't have a strong arm. He's making poor decisions with the football, and right now he's behind 4 guys on the QB depth chart heading into camp. Jaden Daniels is the presumptive number 1 quarterback heading into Week 1 next year. Then you have Mariota, Driscoll, and Fromm all ahead of Hartman. And honestly, guys, I don't know if Hartman has the talent to be able to, come up and really assume himself as the number 3 quarterback, because I think the Commanders will only keep 3 guys on the roster this year. So it's going to be interesting to see how Hartman does. He's going to make the preseason games definitely very exciting and interesting, especially in the second half, but I don't think he's going to end up making the roster. And because of that, I'll give him a B or a B- here. And now we got some other guys here, and these 5 guys, I just don't really see a future with any of them, whether it be because their film is just not good enough, whether they're pretty darn raw, or they just don't have the athletic traits that you need to be an NFL player. Both running backs that they ended up getting as UDFAs, Wiley and Jones, don't really see a future with them. Not the best athletes in the world, and I like the running back room that the Commanders have right now. Norrell Pollard, the defensive tackle out of Virginia Tech, is undersized. I just don't really see him sticking anywhere. Chigozie Anuzium, I hope I'm saying that right, by the way, the cornerback out of Colorado State, same thing, not really seeing a future with him. And then David N., the offensive tackle that they're bringing in and giving a shot here, I just don't really see a future with him either. So all 5 of these guys, I think, are going to end up being cut at the end of training camp. But who knows? I've been wrong before. Now let me know down there in the comment section which Commanders undrafted free agent has the best chance of making the final roster. For me personally, guys, I think it's probably Tyler Owens because of the athleticism he brings to the table. Now, he did tweak that hamstring at the combine, so he needs to be healthy if he wants to make the roster. That's for darn sure as a UDFA. But I think he's the type of guy that can make some splash plays in preseason. He's going to make some impact as a special teams player because of the athleticism and the speed and the physicality he brings to the table. And I could certainly see him earning himself a role with the Commanders in 2024. That'll be it for today's show, guys. Thank you so much for sticking with me here to the end of today's show. Make sure you click that subscribe button if you haven't already for extensive Commanders coverage all throughout the 2024 offseason.